Good evening. We present the news summary. The minister responsible for finance, Pierre Laporte, told the National Assembly that the government has already addressed the issue where confidential information related to State House was released to the Seychelles Revenue Commission. The issue was raised in a private notice question. Leader of the opposition, Bernard Georges, asked how confidential SRC information became public and appeared in the newspaper The People. He also questioned whether an investigation would be launched to identify who released the information. Minister Laporte said no inquiry would be conducted because the ministry had already handled the matter with the SRC. He added that newspapers and individuals can access some government information and that any action against media outlets for possible violations would fall under the responsibility of the Media Commission.
The minister responsible for finance, Pierre Laporte, gave these answers to a private notice question, PNQ, in the National Assembly this morning. The question from the leader of the opposition, Bernard Georges, wanted to know how was it that the confidential information has ended up in the public domain and was even printed in the political party newspaper, The People, and if there will be an inquiry to determine who is guilty of such breach of SRC's regulations. Mr. Pierre says there is no inquiry as the ministry has already addressed the situation with SRC and that it is the Media Commission which is responsible to take action against any newspaper deemed to have acted against regulations.
Vice President Sebastien Pile has said that discussions with the global telecommunications company Starlink are at an advanced stage to bring its services to Seychelles. He confirmed that the company is expected to begin operating in the country before the end of the year. The Vice President was responding to questions in the National Assembly this morning. One question was whether any studies had been carried out. Vice President Pile said 3 studies had been conducted, along with an extensive analysis by the Seychelles Communications Regulatory Authority. He added that the government is also examining whether telecommunications companies are properly declaring their income and turnover and whether they are paying the correct amount of taxes and fees. The Office of the President has appointed Françoise May as the new Chief Executive Officer of the Carriers and Further Education Agency, effective 20th of April. Ms. May holds a Bachelor of Education from the University of Warwick and has completed additional professional training in strategic policy planning, leadership, talent acquisition, and human resource development. The Office of the President has also announced the appointment of the Board of Careers and Further Education Agency. Ms. Margaret Mumu has been appointed as chairperson and Dr. Linda Barallon as vice chairperson. Other board members are Vanya Marimba, Mrs. Marina Jacques, Miss Laura Marie, Mrs. Shireen Pile-Laporte, and Mrs. Nathalie Didon. The board members have been appointed for a period of 3 years, effective from the 15th of May 2026. Seychelles is among the second group of SADC countries assessing their efforts to address corruption through SADC Regional Anti-Corruption Efforts Index. At a workshop this morning, the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACCS, presented its preliminary score to partners and SADC representatives. Developed in 2023, the index measures 15 indicators, including whistleblower protection, anti-money laundering measures, political commitment, and private sector participation. According to the ACCS initial assessment, Seychelles scored 4.6 out of 5 based on information collected over the past 5 years.
I can tell you that the 2 member states that have self-assessed themselves before have put in very good scores to show that there is a lot of effort that is being put on the ground, the effort that includes public education, legislative support, the scoring that also includes is the training, the capacity building. So the 2 member states that have been assessed before, that is the Republic of Mauritius and the United Republic of Tanzania, have actually put in very good scores.
Why every 3 years?
This is a very intensive process, but we are also saying when a member state does an assessment, definitely is going to identify gaps, is going to identify strengths, and maybe to an extent there would be a need to standardize some things, to change some systems, or maybe to make new initiatives, new approaches. And we believe that takes some time. We believe that takes some time. So that's why we give it a time so that it does not become just an exercise of doing it for the sake. We want it to be an exercise, as we say, that it can bring in necessary reforms, new approaches.
The ambassador of Sweden to Seychelles, Lars Åkesson, presented his accreditation documents to President Patrick Emini at State House this morning. Ambassador Åkesson becomes the 10th Swedish ambassador to Seychelles. He will be based in Nairobi, Kenya.
We've discussed our very good relations and how we can take them even further, both in the multilateral field and when it comes to bilateral issues. One specific topic was a memorandum of understanding that Sweden and Seychelles signed last year of greening the port of Victoria. We would be very happy to partner up with Seychelles to do that. We have also discussed the area of health and how we can improve exchanges in that area. Tourism was also a point of discussion. We are happy to send one of the largest numbers of tourists, at least per capita, from Sweden to Seychelles. We had almost 5,000 tourists coming to this beautiful island last year, and I will do my very best to make sure that there will be even more tourists coming to Seychelles in the future.
The Department of Transport and the National Youth Council have renewed their memorandum of understanding for another year as part of ongoing efforts to promote road safety awareness among young people. The signing was followed by a youth road safety workshop held under the theme Empowering Youth for Safer Roads, where participants were sensitized on the causes and impact of road accidents, safe road behavior, and the importance of building a stronger culture of road safety in Seychelles.
I was dropped at the hospital. I'm a nursing student, and I was on WB. And I was called from a phone with a friend saying that they saw the car that my partner usually drives, recklessly crashed, and it was completely destroyed. I ran outside the hospital to see if they were transferred to the casualty. Unfortunately, they had not arrived yet, so I called asking what happened really, and they explained that they were engaged in an accident, and it wasn't their fault. It was another car, a person who were driving a bus, a commercial bus, and she had only the license to drive a car, as in a personal car only. She was rushing, and she crashed into my partner's car, which caused my daughter to go into the hospital, having some very severe medical injury, and that was just because of speeding and being distracted on the road. So you see, it's just somebody not taking responsibility, taking rules and regulation. If you were focusing on the road in your seatbelt, not driving fast, this accident could have been prevented.
This was the news summary. More news at 8 p.m.